So I've been reading Exodus, and the things Pharaoh has done so far is just really surprised me. But they've also taught me a lot, and they've also, taught me to do the opposite of what he did. So one of the things I learned from from the book of Exodus, that Pharaoh did that we shouldn't do is bargain with God and make rash promises. In Exodus, Pharaoh asked Moses to pray for him so that the plagues could go away. And he said that if the plagues went away, then he would let the Israelites go. But again and again, he didn't do that. And this is an example. Exodus 8:4-7. Then Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, "Pray to the Lord to remove the frogs from me and my people, and I will let the people go to sacrifice to the Lord." Moses answered Pharaoh, "Please designate for me the time when I am to pray for you and your servants and your people, to get rid of the frogs from you and your homes. They will be left only in the Nile." "Tomorrow," he said. Then Moses replied, "It will be as you have said, so that you may know that there is none like the Lord our God. The frogs will leave you in your houses, your servants and your people. They will be left only in the Nile." Here, God promises through Moses to just, get rid of all the frogs. But then once that happens, Pharaoh doesn't keep his promise. Exodus 8:8-11 says, "After Moses and Aaron left Pharaoh's presence, Moses cried out to the Lord on account of the frogs that he had inflicted on Pharaoh, and the Lord did as Moses had asked. The frogs died off in the houses, the courtyards, and the fields. Heaps of them were piled up, and the land stank. But when Pharaoh saw that there was a respite, he became obstinate and did not listen to them, and just as the Lord had said." So Pharaoh, he didn't keep his promise. He made a rash promise to God. He bargained with God, saying that only if you rid me of this plague of frogs, I will set the Israelites go. But even after God did that, Pharaoh didn't let the Israelites go. So what that taught me is don't bargain with God and don't make rash promises to him. I know that there's a verse in the Bible that says don't make rash promises, especially to God, because God is powerful and you just shouldn't make rash promises to him in case you don't, complete them like Pharaoh did. Pharaoh made a rash promise, and in the end, he didn't fulfill his promise. And it also teaches me how different God is from us. God is a God who keeps his promises, and yet here we are breaking his promises, and even just breaking the promises we make to other people too. And so that just made me realize how different we are from God. And of course, we are very, very different from God. God is powerful. He is great. But again, moving on to the topic of why I made this video, we shouldn't bargain with God, nor should we make rash promises to him, because we can't make rash promises to God that we don't know if we will complete it or not. We can't bargain with God either. I've seen and heard so many people bargain with God, promising him for something so that God could give them something in return. But that is not how God works. You can't just promise God something so that he can give you something in return. And that's not how God works. So you can't bargain with God, and you also should not make rash promises. There's another verse that I want to read. It reads, it's in Exodus 10:24. "Go, serve the Lord, only your flocks and herds will be detained. Even your little ones may go with you." Once again, Pharaoh tried to bargain. He tried to bargain with God, saying, "Hey, you can take the Israelites to go to worship you, but you have to leave your herds and your flocks." And he did this before, but he said, "You can take the Israelites and leave the children." So Pharaoh tried to bargain with God so many times, But no, God did not let that happen. And, through Moses, God told him not an animal must be left behind. That is literally what God told Pharaoh through Moses. Not an animal must be left behind. What that taught me is that we shouldn't attempt to surrender less than everything to God. We shouldn't bargain with God. We shouldn't make rash promises to him, and we shouldn't attempt to surrender less than everything to him. When we are in a relationship with God, it's either all in or nothing. It's all in or nothing. We can't bargain with God to try to, keep all of this worldly stuff and still try to follow him. Because again, that is not how he works. We can't bargain with God. And we have to give our whole entire lives to him. We can't just be one foot in the world and then one foot with God. We have to be all in or nothing. Literally, I'm pretty sure that's the saying. You're either all in or nothing. So that is what I wanted to make this video about. First, don't bargain with God. Don't try to promise God something so that he can give you something in return. God knows what he's doing, and if he's not giving you something you've prayed for, then it's because it's not for you yet, or it's just not for you. In the end, just know that God is God. He is I am, and he knows what he's doing. So don't try to bargain with him, because he is much more powerful. And just trust in his promises, because he is faithful, more faithful than we will ever be. And be all in for God. It's all in or nothing. Don't try to just half-heartedly follow God, wholeheartedly follow God. And don't attempt to surrender less than everything to him, and don't attempt to bargain with him, to keep some of the worldly stuff you have, and then just follow him and try to follow him. Give your all to God. And don't make rash promises to God, because the Bible does say that you shouldn't make rash promises. And let's also try not to make rash promises to other people too, because we're called to be like Jesus. We're called to be like him, and he's a faithful God. So let's try to be faithful too. Anyway, that is why I wanted to make this video, and I feel like it turned out pretty well. So yeah, I hope you learned from this video, and that you have a good evening, night, or morning, or whatever time of day you're at. It almost fell. Okay, bye.